What's the worst that could happen? Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 anticipated movie reboots.
Today, we will do mean things, and we will do them in style. Oh, hello. Happy holidays.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at upcoming remakes or reboots that have the potential to live up to the hype. While some of these have a confirmed release date, films that are in development will also be considered.
You think you was gonna get away from me?
I know you too well now, Freddy.
Number 10. A Star is Born. This 1937 film is no stranger to remakes. In 1954, a musical version was released and featured an Oscar-nominated performance by Judy Garland. Then in 1976, legendary songstress Barbra Streisand took on the lead role. Another reboot is set to come out in October of 2018, and this one has similar big names attached, including Bradley Cooper, who's also making his directorial debut, and Lady Gaga.
Hey,
What?
I just want to take another look at you.
Following in the footsteps of Garland and Streisand is no easy task, but Gaga has literally been killing it with recent performances in American Horror Story, not to mention her pile of Grammy Awards. With all that talent being pooled, chances are high that this reboot will shine bright. Number 9. Peter Pan. Building on the commercially triumphant live-action adaptations of Jungle Book and Cinderella, Disney has set its sights on Neverland.
Join up with Captain Hook.
While Mickey Mouse's animated Peter Pan achieved legendary status, J.M. Barrie's The Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up has been subjected to a number of underwhelming cinematic interpretations. With the bar set low by 2015's Pan, the Peter Pan reboot, set to be directed by David Lowery, could be a much-needed facelift. Producer Jim Whittaker believes that Lowery's work, which includes the remake of Pete's Dragon, tends to resonate on an emotional level, but audiences can also expect Peter Pan to whisk them away on a grand adventure. Number 8. Little Shop of Horrors. Based on a low-budget 1960s film by Roger Corman that was turned into an off-Broadway musical comedy, Little Shop of Horrors tells the timeless tale of a flower shop worker and his sentient Venus flytrap.
Looks like you're not happy, lest I open a vein.
Directed by Frank Oz, this quirky horror film was a big enough success on VHS to warrant an animated series and an in-development remake by Warner Brothers. With Riverdale producer Greg Berlanti overseeing the project, little is currently known about the new Little Shop of Horrors, although rumors suggest the remake will remain a musical. Number 7. A Nightmare on Elm Street. If you fail the first time, try again. Created by Wes Craven, A Nightmare on Elm Street established Freddy Krueger as a horror icon and spawned numerous sequels. After Freddy vs. Jason, the franchise received the reboot treatment with 2010's poorly received A Nightmare on Elm Street that even failed to impress Freddy. Ever since then, rumors have been circulating about a second reboot that will right the wrongs.
I hope that you're right.
With Orphan's David Leslie Johnson attached as the scriptwriter, a Nightmare on Elm Street remake should and will happen. Although, New Line Cinema currently has its hands full with The Conjuring and It. Number 6. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. As long as Illumination Entertainment resists replacing the Who's with Minions, this upcoming adaptation of Dr. Seuss's classic book could be something special. The book has been adapted several times, including as a 1960s animated short and a live-action romp starring Jim Carrey. And based on the trailer, this new effort looks promising. The studio's second attempt to adapt a Dr. Seuss book after 2012's Uneven the Lorax. Illumination's The Grinch is set to serve as an origin story for the protagonist and sees Benedict Cumberbatch taking on the role of the titular Grump. Number 5. Logan's Run. Tackling themes of ageism and the dangers of unfettered technological advancement, MGM's science fiction classic was set in an alternate reality where people must die at the age of 30. A visual spectacle for its time, Logan's Run shares many similarities with the Hunger Games series, which explains why Warner Brothers announced a remake and tied Mockingjay writer Peter Craig to the project.
You don't have to die. Well, no one has to die at 30.
With Blade Runner 2049 showing there is an audience for smart dystopian stories, Logan's Run has the potential to expand upon the original's concept and even birth a franchise. Number 4. Highlander. At long last, a return to the Scottish Highlands is imminent. Spawning 5 sequels and 2 live-action TV series, Highlander initially bombed at the box office, but grew into a cult classic.
Greetings.
Ever since 2008, Lionsgate and Summit Entertainment have been contemplating reviving Highlander, and finally a script has been approved and the reboot is in pre-production. While little information is actually known about the project, Chad Stahelski of John Wick fame is set to direct, and that is more than enough to get the hype train moving. If successful, the reboot might even trigger an entirely new string of movies.
We are now as one.
Number 3. The Crow. Based on James O'Barr's 1989 comic book, Brandon Lee's The Crow turned the superhero genre on its head, but the film is largely remembered for a tragic on-set accident that resulted in its star's untimely death.
Try harder. Try again.
After a string of less than stellar sequels, The Crow seemed to be set for a fresh start with Aquaman himself, Jason Momoa, taking on the role as the eponymous vigilante. Unfortunately, Momoa dropped out in 2018, along with Corin Hardy, who was signed on to direct. Though the reboot's fate is now uncertain, we're fine with waiting, as long as we eventually get a film that truly lives up to the pedigree of its source material. Number 2. Pet Sematary. From Andy Muschietti's It to Netflix's 1922 and Gerald's Game, adaptations of Stephen King novels are in high demand.
Get the baby! Get the baby!
Published in 1983, Pet Sematary is among King's most hair-raising books, and has received a fun but campy cinematic version. Starring Jason Clarke and John Lithgow, the Pet Sematary remake is slated for a 2019 release, and promises to truly capture the terrifying essence of the original novel.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Aiming to cut down on the sillier aspects of its predecessor, while offering a more character-driven and psychological experience, screenwriter Jeff Bueller predicts that Pet Sematary will be among the scariest Stephen King adaptations. Number 1. Dune. Finally, someone is taking another crack at Frank Herbert's epic sci-fi novel. Set on the fictional planet Arrakis, Dune is one of the best-selling science fiction books in history. But unfortunately, David Lynch's film adaptation struggled to impress critics and flopped with audiences. After all these years, Legendary Entertainment acquired the film rights to Dune and announced that Denis Villeneuve, whose resume includes Arrival and Blade Runner 2049, is set to direct. Due to the novel's expansive world and depth, Villeneuve's remake is wisely expected to be split into 2 films.
Why prolong the inevitable?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.